Sometimes I hear feeling men's hearts with fear. Freedom we all do now is at stake. Humble your heart to God, save from the chastening rod. Seek the way pilgrims trod, Christians away. My Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will.
Hey, thanks for spending some time with us today. Well, today is going to be a program about helping us learn more about our city. It's we're going to educate some people, I hope. Our guest is first time RichardRooked.
Yes,
is that
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
And you are the circuit court clerk.
Yes, sir.
Richard, I'm proud you're here.
Thank you for having me.
I want you to enjoy being here.
Yes.
I want you to come back. I was doing one with David Smith, juvenile court clerk.
Yes, sir.
And he's been here several times. And David always says, you need to get Richard, and need to get Richard. So I appreciate you coming.
Yes, sir.
I wished I knew more about what you do so I could ask intelligent questions. So what I'm going to ask you to do is be intelligent, because I don't know enough to ask good questions, but I want you to be able to get the information out, because I think a lot of people in Nashville, like myself, I pay taxes. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how things are done. And so you are circuit court clerk. What does that mean?
The circuit court clerk has the obligation and the duties of keeping all the records for all of the civil courts in Nashville, Davidson County. It's an elected position, 4 years.
You had to be elected. You had to run for it.
Yes, sir. Have to be elected every 4 years. And our office handles General Sessions Civil Court, which is kind of the Davidson County, kind of a small claims court. It handles traffic citations that are written by Metro police officers, not state troopers. So any traffic ticket that's written in the county, any parking ticket that's written in the county comes through our office. We also have probate office and the probate clerk's office, which handles wills and conservatorships and things of that nature. And we also have the circuit court clerk's office, which is the office that handles any lawsuit that is civil over $25,000, domestic cases, orders of protection, divorces, and things of that nature. So we handle everything that is not a criminal case.
So when the Goldman family sued O.J. Simpson personally, that would come into your court, not the trial for the murder or alleged murder or whatever it was.
Correct.
But the case against him personally would have come in, that kind of thing would come into your court.
Yes, sir. All those kind of cases come into the civil courts of if it was filed here in Davidson County. It's not a criminal court.
Now there is a dollar sign, has to be a certain height, amount of money involved in the lawsuit.
If you're filing a lawsuit generally that's under $25,000, that lawsuit would be filed in General Sessions Court because their jurisdictional limit's $25,000. General Sessions Court also handles detainer warrants and immediate possession warrants. Now,
who keeps those records?
We keep those records.
Oh, you keep those records too?
We keep all of those records. Detainer warrants are for non-payment of rent, and that has no jurisdictional limit. So if we have landlord-tenant issues in the General Sessions Court, people come in and file people non-payment of rent, and they have them evicted from their rental properties. So we'd also do that. So we handle order protection cases. Order protection cases in Davidson County, they're civil until they're violated. So individuals who are being stalked or having domestic problems at home, all those cases.
Girlfriend, married, boyfriend.
Yes, sir. All of those cases come through our court, and it's not a criminal offense until that order of protection is violated. And we file a tremendous number of order protections in our courts today.
How many? Is it fair to start putting numbers on these things, or give me a ballpark? How many would you guess in? Because see, I'm big on the family.
Yes, sir.
I think if you want to fix the family, I think if you fix the family, you fix the problem in America.
Yes, sir.
How many? Give me a ballpark. You don't have to be within 5,000
Sure.
of it, but give me a guess on how many order of protections there are filed in Davidson County.
At the General Sessions level. Now, we can file them in General Sessions, and they can also be filed with a domestic case in circuit if you're going through a divorce and you need to file an order of protection at the circuit level. That can also be done. But I would say roughly about 5,000 order protections are filed at the General Sessions level a year.
5,000.
Roughly 4,000 divorces are filed in Davidson County a year.
4,000 divorces.
Yes, sir.
And 1 Corinthians says, "Love is patient, love is kind, doesn't take into account wrongdoing."
That's
and so
exactly
forth.
yes,
so
sir.
there's 5,000 violations probably.
Yes, sir.
By one party.
That's
Maybe
by
not
one
two,
party.
by one party.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
So, and that's a rather steady number. We see we're seeing a actual increase in order protections that are being filed, but the divorce rate it tends to be fairly steady throughout the years. It's anywhere between 3,800 and 4,400 every year. It's amazing how consistent it is.
And aren't we pretty much at the top of up toward the top of the part of the country in divorce? Being the Bible Belt, you'd think that it would be a whole lot better here. And I'd figured out one time why that was, but I can't remember, so I forgot what I had a answer to it, because I hear people talking about that, on national media.
Right.
This is the Bible Belt, but you have more divorces. I think, aren't we pretty much in the upper limit of divorces? And
we are, for a state our size, and comparing to other states, we are. We find in doing research that when the economy, like we've gone through this bad economy time, the divorces actually decrease, because people can't afford to get divorced, so they tend to stay together longer. And when the economy gets a little better, then we start to see a rise in the divorce rate.
Rises.
Yes, sir. So we've gone through a small decline, not a big decline, but we have gone through a small decline in divorce filings. But they're pretty steady. It's amazing how steady they are from year to year to year. The alarming thing are the order protection cases, the number of order protection cases that are being filed.
How many of those now?
That's the 5,000.
5,000
Yes, sir.
order protection.
Yes, sir.
My population, folks I deal with, a lot of them just strictly use the court to try to impose their will on, if a girlfriend's wanting to change boyfriend, she just gets order protection, gets rid of him, and tries to get her another one. And I see a lot of that going on.
Yes, sir. There's quite a bit of that going on. And
see, the court's hands tied, because if you don't listen to them and somebody comes up dead, then you're the bad guy.
Yeah, they have to be, they have to be prudent in listening to the arguments. And there's a lot of issues. If you have an order of protection, you lose your handgun permit. You can't carry a handgun, which is probably a good idea. And,
I would say so.
There are just certain things that so it's a process that we go through that is a very important process, and there's a lot of victim witness help out there for people who actually need these services. There's a lot of help in this community.
Now, when what you provide for the city, for the residents of Davidson County, is if I'm having one of these squabbles or one of these court situations, my attorney can come to you and get information.
Yes, sir.
About that. So you've got to be able to provide for him or she or whatever it is for my attorney.
Yes, sir. We provide. We have all the court records for everything that is civil in Davidson County. It's all scanned images. We have a CaseLink program where we actually have subscribers that can sit in their office, mostly attorneys' offices and mostly collection agencies, and they can read every document that we have sitting in their office. We have gone to great lengths to provide this service. It cuts down on their cost. It cuts down on a lot of the paper. We don't have to make as many copies as we used to as time goes on. They can just pull it up on a computer screen from the comfort of their home or office or wherever they are. They can log onto our system and actually view any file that we have.
How do they get into that? Does that have to be? They have to have some kind of security clearance to get.
They
into
have
that?
security. They have a password and a user ID, and they will go on our system and they can, as long as you have to subscribe to it. It's just not like everyone in the community can go on and do that. It's a subscriber-based program, and
they pay a fee.
They pay a fee monthly to do that, and we have a lot of files too that are under seal. We also handle adoptions. We handle emergency committals and judicial committals at Middle Tennessee Mental Health Institute, and all adoptions come through come through our court here in Davidson County. So all of those files are sealed. So we're careful not those files are out on this program that people can view. And we also redact, social security numbers and things of that nature that are maybe within a divorce file. So it's secure, and we're proud of the fact that we're being able to provide that service. And it's nationwide. People are using it not only here in Davidson County, but they use it nationwide. We have people in Colorado, California, Florida, everywhere using it.
What for?
They do research on it to find out, about people who have lawsuits filed against them or
So they send all these letters out to people saying,
Yes, sir.
hey,
Yes,
you
sir.
got somebody that's foreclosing on you.
We have a lot of people.
Ambulance chasing lawyers, as we used to call them.
We have a lot of people that subscribe to CaseLink. It's a
That's the way they get
system.
their information. They get,
Sure.
yeah. Because
Sure.
I know if you have any kind of situation happens, you get a blitz of mail. Then you how much you. Now, if a domestic situation happens between a male and a female, and there's children involved in the court, the trial or the hearing or the argument is over at juvenile, does David take care of that? That doesn't come to you?
Yes, sir. David takes care of all folks who aren't married who have children. Now, David doesn't. Just recently, David doesn't do any order protections anymore. They are all at the general sessions level or at the circuit court level. So if you've ever been married and you have children and you have to file for an order of protection, if you've ever been married to the person that you're in the situation with, that comes to circuit court. If you're an unmarried person that just are having a squabble or whatever the problem, that goes to general sessions. But if there's children involved, it always comes to circuit court because there may be child support issues that arise, there may be custody issues that arise, and the general sessions court in Davidson County cannot rule on those things. So it depends on, there used to be 3 places they were. They would be in general sessions, juvenile, or circuit, but now they're even, the order protections are in general sessions or the circuit courts of Davidson County.
Who decides all this? Council or the state legislature?
Well, the legislature just sets forth the law that we follow. The council doesn't have anything to do with the court systems they can impose taxes and things of that nature. But when you get an order of protection, you go down to the night court commissioner, and based upon the information you give the commissioner decides where your case will go, whether it will be at the general sessions level or at the circuit level.
I got one word I want to. Where are you located?
We have 4 offices, actually. We have 2 offices in the historic courthouse, down at the newly renovated. We've been in there now for about 3 or 4 years. The circuit court clerk's office and the probate court clerk's office are located in the historic courthouse. The Traffic Violations Bureau and the Traffic Warrant Division and General Sessions Civil located in the A.A. Birch building on 2nd Avenue.
So if I say the word flood, your blood doesn't run cold?
No, sir. We're high. We're kind of high enough on the hill. We're up at the top of the hill there on the 2nd Avenue. So we didn't have any flood damage, so to speak. And
I can say flood to David. He
gets nervous because I think they lost their whole bottom floor and some vehicles and things of that nature. But no, we didn't. Other than actually, we weren't even closed. But one day during all of that, we were back open. I think that happened we were closed that Friday. We were back open on Monday.
What is before computers came in?
Yes, sir.
Your father had this position.
Yes, sir. He was the clerk for 24 years.
Was he before computers, or was computers
He was
coming
before
in?
computers. Yes, sir.
How did they do that?
It's amazing. We have wills and we have all kinds of historic information. We had Andrew Jackson's will in our probate division that's been turned over to the Metro Archives. But it was actually done with old ledger books. You had to, when I first started there, when we would post a judgment.
I've seen those big old books.
Big, huge ledger books. And you had to pull them out, and you actually had to hand post every order, hand post everything that was done. Now it's so simple.
Did that tell you where the file was?
It wouldn't tell you where the file was. You had a filing system, and the thing that's unique about circuit court is we have to keep files forever. So it never goes away, and we just opened a brand new facility with the help of Metro General Services out at Metro Southeast, which is the old Genesco plant. And we should be okay for quite a while. But as time goes on, the more and more things we have, we can never get rid of a circuit court or a probate court case. They're there forever.
Circuit court case and the graveyard have something in common.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've got it for good. Now, general sessions cases and traffic violations cases by statute, we can dispose of after 10 years. We can get rid of those cases.
So if I can dodge a ticket for 10 years, you're going to
it's gone. It's the civil case is only good for 10 years.
One of my future guests is going to be the deputy chief. I don't talk to him about all these radar things sitting around town. He's making me nervous.
And a lot of the Traffic Violations Bureau is one of our busiest places. We have people coming in and taking care of their obligations, or going to court and explaining why they are not guilty and they can go to school. They can actually go to a driving school and keep that ticket off of their record, so it doesn't go to their insurance. And so there's a lot of services that people can take advantage of.
You got a CDL, it's a nightmare.
If you have a CDL, you're not eligible for driving school. That is a federal law. That is not a state or local law. So
they
CDL.
told us you get you a lawyer. You get a ticket and you got a CDL.
Yes.
Ed Gross is in the wings.
You have to. If you can go to court and you can have it dismissed, then it doesn't go on your record. Outside of that, you have to win the court case in court before a judge. And we're probably averaging around 7,000 tickets a month being written in Davidson County. So that's a good average of tickets.
The police department tell me they use those tickets to be a segue into higher crimes, and they understand that, and they're doing a good job of that.
They are doing a fantastic job. They really
It annoys me, but I know why they're doing what they're doing. They want to walk up, look in that car, and that helps them.
They're doing a good job. They really are. We have a fine police force, no question.
What is it that people need to know? We got 15 minutes to go. What is it that people need, that you wish people knew that they don't know about what you do?
Basically, the understanding of the system and the clerk's role in the system. We are a record keeper. We can't practice law. We can't.
Doesn't do any good to get mad at you.
Yeah, kind of, exactly. We are the front lines, and we are the people who actually get to talk to everyone. And people understand, and our clerks understand, and when we have meetings with clerks and when I hire new people, I always tell them we're dealing with people that are in an adversary proceeding. It doesn't matter. They don't want to be here. They're either going through a divorce, they're being sued or having to sue someone, they've gotten a traffic ticket, there's an order of protection filed. The only happy moment we really have are adoptions. So, those are the happy times. Mm-hmm. So when we're dealing with these folks, we have to understand that they don't want to be there. They're in a stressful situation, no matter what it is. But we are in a position as clerks to keep the record, make the record available to the courts and to the lawyers, make the records available to the plaintiffs or the defendants. But we actually have no power. A lot of our problems are people come up and they want to get divorced. I need to get divorced, and blah, blah, I need to get divorced, don't want to get a law, there's nothing to it. And they actually want us to tell them how to do that. And we are restricted by law from practicing law. We're not lawyers. So we try to guide them through the system as best we can. And it's the same thing at the General Sessions level. They'll come in and say, I have someone in my rental property, I need to get them out, what do I need to file? Well, we have to be very careful as to what we tell them to do, because we can't tell them how to try their lawsuit. So I think the role is people need to understand that we're here to collect money, we're here to give you the proper paperwork to file, but the advice we can give you is very limited. And it is frustrating not only to us, but it's frustrating to the people who use our service.
Because they're looking for a form, but they don't know what form they're looking for, and they don't know what to ask for. Right. And you can't just up and say, here's the form you need.
Here's what you need to have. And there access to justice commission that came down from the Supreme Court is trying to help that. We now have divorce forms that can be used. We now have certain forms and that you don't necessarily just have to go to a lawyer. And a lot of divorces are simple divorces.
He wants to go, she wants to go, they won't.
They don't have any children, they don't have any possessions, so to speak, or whatever the possessions they have, they've agreed to separate. So it's a very simple to call it an ID divorce, irreconcilable differences divorce. And it's really frustrating because they don't want to have to go spend a lot of money for a lawyer, and the process is fairly simple. It's a court of record, so there are rules, and you have to know the rules to practice in the court. But the Access to Justice Commission, which is the commission that's set forth by the Supreme Court, has made it easier by their generating forms. I'm actually on that forms committee, and they're generating forms to give individuals to try to make it easier to navigate the complicated legal system at the circuit level, and it is very complicated.
Now, does the term no-fault divorce, does that fit that, or is that something else?
Yes, sir. It's kind of the same thing. An irreconcilable difference divorce is an ID divorce with no children, and it's pretty. If the parties are in agreement, it's a pretty simple process, and they just have to follow the rules, come in and do the right thing, get their court date set, and it generally doesn't. It generally is a pretty simple process.
They fill out the paperwork and then they go see a judge.
Yes, sir. They get their case filed.
If they can do that and not fight while they're there.
Exactly. But I would say,
what
just
if children involved?
If there's children involved, it gets a little more complicated because you have to have a parenting plan. There are all kinds of different things that you have to do, especially with the very young children. And that's the thing about a divorce case. If you're getting divorced and you are, you have a 2-year-old child or a 3-year-old child, well, that case pretty much stays active for 16 years. So we have to have access to that case because, at the end of the child support period, you have to file a motion to do away with the child support once the child turns 18 or graduates from high school. The case never really goes away until that child becomes of age. So it's a whole lot for us to keep up with. But I would say, just to answer your question, the number one thing I would like people to know is there's not a lot we can do. We're there to assist, we're there to help, and we're there to guide them through the system. But as far as practicing law for them, or telling them, what the court's going to do, or telling them how the court's going to rule, or what do you think my chances are here, or what should I say when I get to court, those are things we just cannot answer by law. I mean, we are obligated to not practice law, and it's a fine line between, here's what you need to do versus here's how you try your lawsuit.
How many people you have on your staff?
We have, when I first took office, and this tells you a lot about automation, when I first took office in 1993, we had about 180 staff members. We now have 143, and that's why the technology has helped us, and we haven't had to lay anyone off, but as people leave, we just don't replace them. So technology has helped in those areas. And those 143 are dedicated employees. They're good people. They're good public servants, and they do a wonderful job. And that's in 4 different divisions. So,
what for a child, somebody's home watching television, what would be something that this would be, I'm going to ask this question, what I'm going to say is, what would be why would they want to come to work here? And that's not what I'm wanting to say. What if they have a certain interest?
A career path.
Career path, there you go.
Sure.
Now you're talking.
Well, metropolitan government in any of our offices is, the government and the metropolitan government in particular is a fantastic place to work. You have wonderful benefits.
See, it's not sold to our community, I don't think, is it?
I think it is per department versus department. If you have a legal background or you have any interest in the law, and maybe not necessarily want to be a lawyer, we have.
Now you answered my question.
Right.
You're interested in the law, but don't want to be a lawyer.
Don't want to be a lawyer.
There you go.
We have paralegals, people who have gone to paralegal school that work in our organization. People who have knowledge, who come from law firms. The terminology and the of knowing what a subpoena does, knowing what this
Very
does.
helpful.
It's extremely helpful. So for folks who just want to be helpful, because that's one of the things that you've got to be able to do when you come to work in the circuit clerk's office. You got to be willing to help individuals who are standing in front of you with a problem, because they have a problem. But it's a great. You're vested in your pension after 5 years now. I think that's trying to be changed to 10, and I think it should be changed to 10. If it's just you got a pension. It's a wonderful place to work. It's a good atmosphere. It's a good environment, and it's just working for the metropolitan government's been fabulous for me.
I have teenagers, and I listen to these teenagers talk, and they'll say they want a job where they can help people.
Mm-hmm.
They can't be a doctor, don't have the academic skills to be a nurse or a doctor, and maybe be a lawyer, but something like this, working in government, they can. I've known guys that became school custodians, and you think, well, they're just custodians. They weren't. They were counselors.
Absolutely.
In helping young people, and they enjoyed their job because it gave them an opportunity to catch a guy that's getting in trouble and give him a little advice, stay away from that, and just really enjoy their job, not because it's custodial work, but because they had the opportunity to encourage young people.
Right.
I think that's precious. I think that's precious. We got 3 minutes to go. Is there anything that I need I want to ask about wills.
Okay.
People need to have a will, they tell me.
People need to have a will. Probate.
Is there an instant will that you can go and pull off a form? Is that a legal question, or is that a fair question?
There are websites out there. I think there's legal websites out there who have common wills for people to draw up. But it's very important for folks to have a will. Wills can be contested, but if you've got one, it's a direction. We know none of us think that anything's going to happen to us, but things happen, and for your family, for your children, for especially blended families, as we say, it's extremely important for folks to have a will.
So that's something everybody needs to have a will.
Yes, sir. Everyone needs to have a will. If you're a person who someone else depends on, for whether education, whether it be a home or something you want to split one way or another, it's very important for folks to have a will, and they're not very difficult to fill out. It's just your wishes on a piece of paper, how you want things to go after you're not here.
After you're here, the judge can look at your wishes and enforce your wishes and protect your family.
Absolutely.
And protect your resources where you want them to go.
Yes, sir. And it's amazing at the probate level how many people will contest a will. It happens.
Really?
Yes, sir. It happens every day. And it has to be certified, and you have to have witnesses to the will. And people
got to follow the rules.
Follow the rules. Know the people that know you're in your right state of mind when you do it. You hear a lot of that with people having dementia and people changing their wills at the last minute before
That's
they.
That's a flag, I bet.
Yeah, it's a flag. So it's very, very important for.
Little nurse
people.
gets 100% of everything.
Yeah.
Back to the people.
It's very important for people to have a will and have it witnessed and have it the signatures notarized and have it filed.
You're a family man? We got 45 seconds.
Yes, sir. I have a wife named Gay. I have a son named Logan, a stepdaughter named Paige, and a grandson named Braxton. I've lived in the Inglewood area all my life. I've been born and raised here.
Homegrown Nashville boy.
Homegrown. I've been in Nashville my whole life, born and raised here. I love this city, and I love being able to serve this city.
How does somebody get in contact with you if they have a question that we've
Anyone that has a question about anything they've heard today, call 862-5181. That is the circuit clerk's office, and you will get put through back to my office. And if I can't answer your question at that point in time, I will definitely return your phone call.
Yeah, if you can't let go. I got you. You'll be there for them.
Yes, sir. I will be there for them.
I want to thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. Thank you very
much.
much.
And folks, thanks for staying tuned in here with us and all. This has been educational, and I'm going to have to rest. My brain's tired. You come back to us.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in.
Freedom we all hold dear, now is at stake. Humble your heart to God, save from the chastening rod. Seek the way pilgrims trod, Christians away. My Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will meet their doom. Trumpets will sound, and all of the dead shall rise. Righteous me in the skies. I'm going where no one dies, heavenward bound. What troubles will soon be o'er, happy forevermore. When we meet on that shore, free from all care. Rising up in the skies, telling this world goodbye. Home we will fly, glory to share.